Hello and welcome to our Ask the Expert series, where we sit down with top industry professionals to bring you the latest insights on topics that matter to you. Today, I'm excited to have Sara Minhalma with us. Sara is an expert lawyer specialising in visas here in Portugal. Sara, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the invitation.
So to start, can you tell us a bit about the type of visas available in Portugal and who they are ideal for?
We have a lot of different types of visas. Let's just say we have short stay visas or Schengen visas for periods until 90 days. And the motives can be for business, visiting friends and family, tourism, seasonal work, for example. And then we have the national visas, and we can also divide into types: temporary stay visas for periods from 90 days to 1 year, and then the residency visas that are for longer periods, more than 1 year.
Okay, great. And what would you say are the most significant benefits for foreigners considering these visas to either live or invest in Portugal?
After the process is completed, after the applicant has the resident permit, there are a lot of benefits, starting with our national healthcare system. After the applicant has a resident permit, he can ask a number and then have free access to our national healthcare system. But travel around and circulate freely around the Schengen area countries or European Union countries is also a benefit, especially for those citizens of the countries. They need a Schengen visa to enter in the Schengen area. No longer, they don't need to request a specific visa for that purpose, but also benefit from the non-habitual resident status, the NHR, which is a good, a more favorable tax regime. It changed a lot. Many people are not eligible anymore, like retired people are not eligible anymore, but some high-valued activities are still eligible to request this more favorable tax regime. And also, after 5 years of having a legal residency here in Portugal, it's possible to request the citizenship, which it means that the person becomes an European Union citizen, ultimately.
Fantastic, that's really interesting. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the most popular visas, starting with the Golden Visa, which has been widely discussed in the past as a route for investors, but things have changed. Sara, can you briefly explain what it is and why it might not be suited to everyone anymore?
Yes, I have heard many times, oh, the Golden Visas ended. The Golden Visa didn't end. The Golden Visa is a residence permit obtained through an investment activity. And previously there were 8 types of activities eligible for the Golden Visa. What ended is the real estate activities. So it's no longer possible to request a Golden Visa based in an investment in real estate, whether if the minimum amount is 500,000 euros or 350,000 euros with rehabilitation works. That options are no longer possible. And also the option to make a transfer of capital of the amount of 1.5 million. There are still 5 activities eligible for the Golden Visa. For example, people can apply for a Golden Visa if they invest in investment funds. Of course, the investment funds must also follow some requirements, but it's still possible to obtain a Golden Visa through that investment type, or create 10 jobs, permanent 10 jobs. So it depends on the applicant's will, and but still possible to apply with some changes, of course. Of course, having an asset, real estate assets, much more appealing than, creating 10 jobs for at least 5 years, and we don't know, but it didn't end. Okay, I just want people to know that it's still possible. Invest in cultural activities, for example.
Okay.
It's still possible.
Fabulous. Thanks for clarifying that. So let's move on to the D7 visa, which has been gaining a lot of attention, especially among retirees and remote workers. Could you explain what makes this visa so appealing and what the requirements are and who it's best suited to?
Yes, the D7 visa is for retired or people who earn passive income. And it's a residency visa, which means that the applicant will live in the country more than 1 year. There is a list of requirements, general requirements and general documents that they need to fulfill, like, for example, present the passport, the criminal record, the travel insurance. These are requirements and documents that all visa types, and then specifically the D7. If the applicant is retired, he must prove the amount of the pension and that he receives a pension, okay? And then if people earn passive income, what type of income? For example, property rents are eligible. Receiving a salary is also eligible. Having financial investments. Each case, it's a case, and depending on the income, it can be eligible for the D7 visa. And the process, it has a start, middle, and the end. The process of the D7 and all types of visas starting the Portuguese consulate of the country of origin or the country where the applicant lives legally by an appointment. Through VFS Global. Most of the times it's an outsourced company hired by the Portuguese consulates. They help in this visa process. So they start with an appointment to submit the application. Then the applicant must wait about 2 months until he has a reply from the Portuguese consulate with the approval of the visa. The visa is approved, it's stamped in the passports. And then the second step of the process is coming to Portugal to have an appointment at the immigration office and to ask a resident permit. But before all of that, before starting the process, it's very important to do the homework. Like I say, there are 3 things that are mandatory to obtain in Portugal before start the process. A NIF number, which is a taxpayer number, necessary for almost everything in Portugal. Having a bank account in Portugal, because once the applicant submits the application, it's necessary to present a bank statement from a Portuguese bank with a certain amount, minimum amount of income, and the proof of accommodation, of course. The proof of accommodation can be done through a lease agreement with a minimum duration of 12 months, or by the ownership of a property in Portugal. These 3 things are very important prior to the application.
Fantastic. Are there any common mistakes or misunderstandings that you often see with new applications?
Yes, for example, these 3 things that I mentioned before that must be obtained before the application. Sometimes people want to apply as fast as possible, but they don't know they need to get a NIF in Portugal, to have a bank account in Portugal, to have accommodation in Portugal. So these 3 things are very important, and I see a lot of people, they do not prepare for the application. This is a quite common mistake, and I think information and guidance are very important previously the application. So everything, as I said, it's a process with a few steps, and we cannot skip 1 step, otherwise it will take a long time to obtain the D7. And also people think that, okay, I have the D7, it was approved, I don't need to do anything else. No, there is the second part of the process, which is coming to Portugal and have an appointment at the immigration office and ask for the resident permit. The D7, it's not a resident permit itself, it's a way to obtain a resident permit in Portugal.
So they need to do the application overseas, come into the country, then meet with immigration here to finalise their entry into the country,
Yes.
to then actually become a registered resident inside Portugal.
This is the process.
It's fantastic. So before we wrap up, do you have any final tips for someone watching who is interested in starting the visa process?
Yes, ask for guidance and information before start the application. That's very important. That's very important, so the process can finalize in a good way.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. If you're interested in more information, feel free to reach out to us and we'll connect you with trusted professionals like Sara. And don't forget to like, subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes of our Ask the Expert series for more insider insights. Thanks for watching.